people who can't join us. All right, so we'll get started. So what Zosha's going to do for us is she's just going to go through the basics of which I think everyone on here knows, right? Where to find the forms. And then she's going to show how to set up some personal folders. And then we'll just see, maybe she'll just start a loop, which is the same process as before. So you can see what forms are pulling in, and then we'll see what questions you have after that. So Zosha, I'm going to mute mine.
All right, can everybody hear me? Hello? Well, you muted, so. Hello? Oh, Jane entered the room.
We can hear you.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Good morning.
Oh,
Good morning.
can you guys all hear Zosha?
Yes, we can hear Zosha.
You can probably leave your sound on because I have my AirPods in, so you
Yeah,
won't get
so-
the feedback loop. Okay. I'm going to share my screen. You don't need to see my face.
We cannot see your face, Zosha.
That's all right. You're not missing much. All right. So this is the new template library that I know everyone has been getting acquainted with over the past week or so. So all of the documents are either going to be in Master 360 Office documents or under MAR interactive forms. Unfortunately, we can't put them closer. I mean, we could put them closer together, but the master forms would be down here. But we can't control the MAR interactive forms. That's controlled by MAR. So I can't change where that is. But basically what we're doing is we've moved toward using more of the MAR forms because they are the most compliant and legally legally protecting the company and you as agents. But there are a few forms that we have that MAR doesn't have. So in that instance, you'll find them under Master 360 Office documents. So I guess when you're looking for forms, my first suggestion would probably be to check the MAR interactive forms because they have a much more robust and full template library. But if it's not in there, then I would check the MAR 360 forms. And then if you still can't find it, then of course, as you know, you can always send an email to admin@homesofma.com. So when you're searching for documents, so MAR forms, there are a bunch of them. As we can see here, it goes on forever. Up here in the search bar is a really good place to start. I wouldn't type in the whole thing that you're looking for. It does just search within the name of the form, and it is not case sensitive. So if you know that you're looking for an addendum, so you can just start typing addendum, and you don't even have to type the full word, but it will pull up anything that is named that has the word addendum in it. And while it's still a lot of things, at least it does narrow it down a bit. The other thing is you could just search buyer, and then these are all the things that have the word buyer in it, so on and so forth. So whatever you are looking for, if you can only remember part of the name, just go with what you know. You go with part of the word so that you can try to find the specific form that you're looking for. Under Master 360 Office documents, we did try to, let me just, this is a new form that was added, so it's not in alphabetical order. Let me see, I don't have mine open. That's okay. What we did do is we're going to just ignore that one. We did try to name them with buyer, listing, or Remax at the beginning of the document name. So if it is something that you need for the buyer side, has the word buyer begin it. Listing side, listing. And then if it is for neither, or it's just like a Remax form, like the agent payment request, it just has the word Remax before it. So like, obviously these can be used for either buyer or seller side, but they're more like Remax specific. So it just has the word Remax before it. And then you have rental. There are a few rental docs in here. And then also the MLS forms. These are all of the new MLS forms that they just updated. I think it was like at the end of last year, because they got a new logo and they redid some of their forms. So when you are making your own personal folder, so what I'll do is I'll just go back to the page, to the front page. So you log in, you click on templates, and then it will bring you here. The first folder that you see is your personal folder. This is just a default folder that is created by Dotloop, where you can put any personal forms that you have of your own. This would be if you had, I don't know, if you just had something that you created for, for your clients that you send out on every listing, or that you want to use, you could put that here. And then your inbox is if you message yourself or you email yourself documents through Dotloop, they would show up here. But these are two default folders that are created by Dotloop. You do not have control over moving them or deleting them or renaming them. However, if you want to create your own personal folder for something else, you would just click on new folder, and hi Colby, and we would rename it. I'm just going to put on do not disturb. And we would rename it. So for example, let's make a buyer folder. So we could call it buyer documents. You can call it whatever you want. I'm going to call it buyer documents. And then what you're going to do is you want to pull from templates. You don't want to use browse, because when you use browse, what you're doing is you're browsing your computer and you're going to pull up what are called flat PDFs. So there are two types of PDFs in Dotloop. There are Dotloop PDFs, and then there are flat PDFs. A flat PDF is a PDF that is just a plain old PDF that is not editable or isn't fillable in Dotloop. It doesn't mean that you can't make it fillable, but it just means that the document that you're starting with is not fillable. So for example, I guess I'll upload one just to show you. I'll upload this inclusion exclusion sheet so that you can see it. So this is a flat PDF. And so you'll see that when you click on it, it's just that. It's just a PDF. There's nothing for anybody to click on. There's nowhere for anybody to sign. However, you can always add a signature. You can always add a text box if you wanted. So those are flat PDFs. What we want to do is we want to use templates, because when we add templates, those are going to give us interactive or Dotloop PDFs, which means that they will have text fields that are fillable. They'll have checkboxes, they'll have signature fields, all those fun things that hopefully make your life a little bit easier. So on the buyer side, we'll say we want the contract to purchase. So even in here, when you're choosing the documents to add, you still get your search bar. So we're going to click on MAR interactive forms, and we're going to go up here, and we're going to say, because we want to add the contract to purchase, we're going to just type contract. And then we'll see contract to purchase real estate. If you notice that sometimes it doesn't give you a ton of space. So you'll see this says like agreement of associations as an indip, and then it doesn't finish. But if you hover over it, you'll get the full name above it. Because sometimes you'll see like a contract to purchase real estate. Sometimes there'll be like, something for commercial or something for rental. There'll be different versions of things. So if you hover over the name of it, you'll see a black box, or on mine it's black because I have night mode turned on. But you'll see a little box pop up over it with the full name, so that way you are fully aware of what you are adding. So I want to add this. I also want to add, and you can do, because you can do more than one, I also want to add the mandatory licensee consumer relationship form. I will check that off as well. And then if you look over here on the left, you can see that my MAR interactive form shows them adding 2 documents. So you don't have to do them one at a time. You can just search for them, check them off. And then when you have the ones that you want to add, you just click copy. And then it will show you that 2 were imported and you click OK. And now these 2 are in your buyer document folder. And then you can go back. You can also do this all in one swoop, the way that I was showing you earlier, but then you can do master forms. And if you just scroll, there aren't that many forms, or at least I don't feel there are that many forms especially for the buyer side, but you can add these in as well as if you want. You can add in all of them. You can add in, just one of them, whatever number that you want. But you would just add them in and click copy as well. You'll get confirmation that they've been imported, and then they're here. The cool thing about doing it this way, if you make your own personal folders like this, what you can then do is you can go into something like the mandatory licensee consumer relationship form, and you can fill this out. So if you know this is on the buyer side, you can check off that you're going to be a buyer agent, a designated buyer agent. You can fill in your name. My name is Jacob Van Meter today. 66220. He's a salesperson. You would fill in the things that wouldn't change from form to form. So obviously you're not going to sign it yet because that would change. Then you wouldn't be able to fill out the rest of the form. You wouldn't fill out any of this information or the date, but these things right here in the middle will always stay the same. So you can fill those out. And now when you go into your loops and you create a new loop, they'll always be there. And it's just one less thing for you to have to fill out. So same thing with a, like on a listing agreement, if you wanted to fill in, not that there's a ton to fill out in the listing agreement ahead of time, that wouldn't change a lot, but you could fill in like your commission if it's always the same, and that one line where it says the designated agent, and you put in your name there, and then you can fill in your name at the very bottom where you sign. It says the broker or its agent. You type in your name there. So there are like 3 fields that you could fill in there, but that goes for any of these forms. That when you start making these templates, you can just save yourself a few seconds, and you can create those. I know I'm going kind of fast. Anybody have any questions?
So far, so good.
One thing with the search, which you mentioned, people need to first click MAR interactive and then search, and people are searching from the home page.
Okay. Yeah, so Carolyn was bringing up, so just again, as we're when we're searching, so when we go into templates, the first thing that it does is it will default to your personal folder because it's at the top. Before you search for a template, you need to click on the folder that you're going to be searching. It doesn't search all of them. Unfortunately, you can't just click on documents and it will search all of these folders. You have to pick the folder. So if you want to search MAR interactive forms, you need to click that first. If you want to search Master 360 Office documents, you need to click that. So whatever folder you're searching, you need to click that first, and you'll see that it's highlighted, and I'm using air quotes here. It's highlighted by turning it black, and it kind of looks like it's underlined. So that's how you know what folder you're searching in. Also, it's written up here at the top. So right underneath your search bar, you'll see the name of the folder that you're actually searching in. And then same thing when you're adding your documents, when you click on add a document, templates, you'll see it highlighted in black, or you just see that the name of the folder is changed to black that you're searching in. You want to just make sure that you click on the folder first before you go to search. So that's where you find your new documents. That's how you set up personal folders. Was there anything else that we wanted to go over?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
It's fine.
What's the difference between exclusive listing and right to sell and hold harmless?
Yeah, so the hold harmless agreement, let's bring that up.
So Regina just asked a question in the chat. What's the difference between the exclusive listing agreements, right to sell, and hold harmless? So Zosha's going to pull those up right now.
So the hold harmless agreement is basically, it's just the buyer or contractor saying that they will be able to access the property and do whatever needs to be done. So this is great to use if you have buyers who are, for whatever reason, doing work or just inspecting a house before it actually sells. We generally use this if it's like like the kind of house that is falling down, which we don't have that often, thankfully, knock on wood. But we did have one house that was in Lynn that the front porch was, I think, held together by like bungee cords. So before anybody walked in the house, we had them sign this because we were like, well, like it's clearly not the safest situation, but we just want to make sure that if in case somebody, I don't know, falls through the front porch, we want to make sure that we're protected. So that's what this is. It's just, you're saying the buyer agent or contractor is going to have access to the property, and they're going to inspect, they're going to do a showing, they're going to do work or whatever, but if something bad happens, not it. The exclusive listing agreement is an agreement with the seller, which is, I'm sure we're all familiar with an exclusive listing agreement. It's all the terms of the listing and your commission and everything else that's outlined for that. So I guess, Regina, to answer your question, the difference between a hold harmless agreement and an exclusive listing agreement is that the hold harmless agreement is an agreement between the agent or the brokerage and the buyers contractors, whereas the exclusive listing agreement is between the agent and the brokerage and the seller for the ability to sell their home. Sorry, exclusive listing agreements, right to sell and hold harmless. Okay.
One thing you might.
I'm going to unmute myself for a minute. One thing, if you can just pull up, I know the exclusive listing agreement is new. If maybe you want to pull that up, and I'm probably most people on here know how to do this, but for people who are newer or who might be watching this later, can you just show how, if they want to maybe strike through something or change what's in there, how they do that? Thanks.
Sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just create a new loop. I actually think I have a test loop that I created. I'll use that. Yeah, I test. Okay, cool. So, so if you add the exclusive right to sell, the listing agreement to your loop, you can autofill if you want. We're going to skip that. But if you are looking to, so we're going to fill it out, seller's name, address, recorded in the name of the registry of deeds, blah, 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 all that. But say we want to strike out down here. So in the event that seller terminates this agreement without mutual agreement, blah, blah, blah. I know that some agents have said, I'm not going to charge my seller if the deal falls through or whatever. And that's fine. You're going to go to add, and you can use any of these at any point in this document. Of course, once it's signed, you can't add things, but you can always have them re-sign it. Or if you download it and re-upload it, making it a flat PDF, you can edit it further, but we'll get into that after. Anyway, original question, add strike through, and then you're just going to place it over what you want to strike through. In the lower right-hand corner, you see how I have an arrow, and then I have like this four-way directional. But if I hover in just the right spot in this lower right-hand corner, it changes to a downward facing arrow. That's going to allow you to resize it. So that's what I'm going to do, is I'm just going to resize it so that we're only crossing that out. If you look in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see some of these shortcuts. So I'm on a Mac, so it's going to be Command-Shift-C. If you're on a PC, it's just Control-Shift-C. Generally, the difference between Mac and PC shortcuts is just that instead of Command, you just use Control. But Command-Shift-C. So I'm clicking on this, and I'm going to press Command-Shift-C, and it will copy it. And then if I press Command-Shift-V, it will paste it. You can also just go to add and add another strike through, but I'm going to show you why this is relevant. So when you add a strike through, it makes it that original size, but you can resize it. And when you copy something, it will copy it as the same size, so you don't have to keep resizing it. Also, if you want to select multiples, you can just click and drag and select multiples, still copy, and paste. So if we wanted to cross that out, we just do that. If you added something and you didn't mean to, just click on it. And then in this dark blue bar, these are your commands that you can do. You can just click X and that will remove the field. So you can mark this up however you need to. Yeah, we got that. You can mark this up wherever you need to, as needed. So, so like if you need to strike something, or if conversely, like if you wanted to add in text of some sort because you and your buyer or you and your seller agreed to something, you can just add in a text box, seller agrees to pay for lunch. I don't know, whatever. But you can add, the point is you can add in whatever you need. This field right here will change the transparency of that box. So right now, that box, if you printed this out or if you downloaded it, it would have a line underneath it because, I don't know, it just does. And also if you put it over here, how it has a white background, this will change the transparency of it so that it no longer has that background. So now it's just the text on a clear background. So do with that what you will. Let's see, the rest of this is just stuff that you may cross out. And then doesn't happen often, but sometimes you have more than 2 sellers, you would just add a signature, and you could just add a signature for more sellers. And you can add as many as you need or as many as fits, I guess. But you can just keep adding them here. What else? I'm trying to think of other things that are useful.
Regina just asked, please show again how you can delete all the changes you just made.
Sure. So what you're going to do is if you need to delete something, you just click on it. And then, so when you're not editing something, your top bar just looks like this. But when you click on something, you'll see that a dark blue bar then pops up. And that top blue bar is going to give you the actions that you can perform with the item that you just clicked on. So you can assign a signature, or if you don't need it, you just click on this X and you remove the field. Same thing with anything else. You just click on it and you can remove the field. You can also do that if for whatever reason you want to do it with the fields that are already on the template. You can delete them. So like if you decide that you don't want to write the price in there for whatever reason, you can delete it. I wouldn't suggest that. Obviously the fields are there to be filled in, but just to keep showing you, click on an item, click the X, click on an item, click the X. That's how you would delete things. If you want to delete more than one thing, so say you crossed out all of this and then you went and then you're talking to the seller and they go, no, I changed my mind. I will pay for things if the deal falls through. You can just select. So what I'm doing is I'm just clicking and dragging my mouse. You see how I have this box? I'm just clicking and selecting. I'm clicking and selecting all of those lines. And then I'm going to click X and they're all gone. Oh, forgot this little buddy. And then that's it. And then same thing down here. If I decided that I didn't want to include all of those signatures, I can just select them and delete them. Is there language in this new listing that the seller agrees that we can advertise online or social media all online? Believe so. It's under marketing.
So Regina was just asking, is there language in the new listing agreement that the seller agrees that we can advertise online on social media and all the online media real estate sites? And Zosha's just checking for that. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, so we are advertising in MLS Pin, place listing on MLS Pin. I think it might be under broker duties. Broker agrees to use reasonable efforts in marketing the property and agrees to list the property. So I think it just falls under reasonable efforts in marketing. I think social media has become so ingrained in everybody's lives that it just kind of falls under reasonable efforts in marketing. But I guess this is one of those examples where if you wanted to be really specific, or if your seller wants you to be really specific, you can just add a text box and add in here. Broker agrees to market property. Properties and all that. Property. Oh, goodbye. Forgive for typing too fast. Broker agrees to market property on social media websites. So you could just add that in if you wanted to be really specific. But Regina, to answer your original question, I think that marketing on social media falls under use reasonable efforts in marketing the property.
Another question, I think if we're good with this form, that has come up a few times, was setting up forms to auto-populate certain fields.
Yes.
So let me see. So auto-populating the fields, I would just have to do from templates. And some of them are already set to autofill. So when you first add something to Dotloop, the first time that you open it, it will pop up with autofill. If you look at this and you go, oh shit, I forgot to add in the seller's name and also assign myself as the listing agent, you can just click the X, go back, add in your people. So we'll say Barry Allen. So we're going to make him the seller. And then I will assign myself as the listing agent. And then I will go back into the form. And now it's not going to pop up again. But if you click on autofill up here at the top, it will bring you back to that screen that you saw initially. So you can look in here, and so you'll see that Barry is assigned as the seller. You'll see that Jacob is assigned as the listing agent. You can put in your listing, your license number, name is already there, and then just click autofill. So, so those will autofill for you. Obviously, just save, sign as needed, and whatnot. MAR forms are already assigned for autofilling. I think the only form that I would have to go, I think the listing exclusive right to sell already has some autofill. Yeah, it has the seller and the listing agent that would autofill. I can add in these fields as to be autofilled as well. You would just have to make sure that you fill them out before opening up and filling out this form. So, but yeah, I can add those in. That's not a problem.
Any other questions or things you'd like Sosha to demonstrate?
I'm good.
No, I think we're all set. I'm good too.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. And then, and as we're going through, like, sometimes things come up, as we're doing them, and that's fine. Just, always feel free to send an email to admin@homesofma.com, because either myself or Jane or Bonnie or Carolyn, one of us can get back to you. But, never feel bad about sending an email, and just asking questions, because, we're always here to help and support, and we'll get back as soon as we can.
Okay.
Great.
Thank
Well,
you.
if there's no more questions, thanks everyone for joining. We'll share this recording after. And like Sosha said, if you have any questions, don't ever spend too long struggling with trying to find a form or with things you're not sure how to do. Reach out, to that admin @email, or reach out to one of us. We'd be happy to help you. And I think the great feedback I've been hearing from everybody is that, once when they've used it a little bit, everyone's getting comfortable with where to find things and how to search and how to set up folders. If you, we're also happy to come to your office. If you want a little one-on-one setting up folders, Bonnie and Jane can help you as well, or you can set up a Zoom call with one of us and we can help you set things up as well. So thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank
Good
you so
weekend.
Bye,
much.
thank you.
Have a good
Have a good
weekend.
weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Huh, wasn't too bad.
Thank you.